Hey guys, Tim Melvin of Banking on Profit and the Community Bank Stock Investor coming to you from down here in Central Florida. It was supposed to be a full-on publishing holiday because we were going to go down to southwest Florida to Sanibel to celebrate our 7th wedding anniversary. But yeah, Irma had other plans, so we're still in Orlando. Not going anywhere for the weekend, but doing a lot of hurricane prep. We're pretty much as ready as you can be for one of these things. Evacuation kind of wasn't an option by the time we thought about evacuating. There were already traffic jams, gas supplies were spotty. We did get my 14-year-old stepdaughter on a plane up to her father's in Maryland. And that was tricky enough because we bought one of the last tickets that was available for sale. There's flights in and out, but there's absolutely no tickets for sale. And that kind of ended about Wednesday. So we're here. Storm looks like it's going to be about category 2, maybe even down to a category 1 by the time it gets here. We're going to find out how good a job Pulte Homes does of putting a roof on a house this weekend, that's for sure. But, you know, we've got the water, the food, the generator, the gas. We're not anywhere near a flood zone. Should be just a wind event for us. Going to be loud, going to be noisy. Probably not a ton of fun. My wife's probably gonna have to carry the 45-pound dog everywhere she goes on Sunday and Monday. But we're here. We're settled in. We're about as ready for it as you can get. Would have rather spent the weekend in Sanibel. I mean, if this was going the way it was supposed to be, I would not be shooting this video right now. I'd be down in a diner on Highway 17. I'd be having some chicken fried steak and eggs and getting ready to head down for an afternoon sitting on the beach and an evening at the tiki bar watching the sunset on the Gulf. None of that's happening, okay? We're here. We got lots of books. We got some good wine. My son is coming over. He's going to kind of hunker down with us because he'd rather be in the house than in his apartment. So there we go. It's going to be a little bit of a hurricane party and just kind of ride this thing out. Hopefully, it does as it comes on land. Lose some steam, get here as a category 1 or 2, and we should ride it out just fine. More concerned about my friends down in around Naples, the Sarasota area, and certainly Miami looks like it's really going to get hit. If you're under an evacuation order, get out, guys. There's a lot of storm surge predicted with this one. That's really the problem as much as the wind. Those floodwaters of 7, 8, and 9 feet, as we saw in Texas, can do a lot of damage. So anyway, what is the impact for the banking industry? We talked about this last week when Harvey was hitting Texas. It's, if anything, it's a slight positive. You're going to see a lot of loan payoffs, even more in Florida, because just about everybody in those Florida coastal zones, unlike a lot of the folks in Houston, they have flood insurance. They know that they're in a high risk flood zone, so they have the flood insurance. They have the extra wind insurance. So you're going to see a lot of early loan payoffs as the insurance companies pony up to pay off the loans on the property. So then a couple months out, you're going to see some really strong loan demand coming in for a little while as folks begin the process of rebuilding. So it's a net neutral to a positive, maybe a short-term earnings hit, because if there's enough floodwater, enough damage, you're going to lose a few days of business. The branches are going to be closed. You're not going to be able to get in there to get to that. That's worst case. You take a little bit of an earnings hit, but you make it right back up on the increased loan demand and the loan payoff. So not really something to worry about. The guys at FIG Partners did a study following Katrina and following Andrew, and they found that it was, in fact, a net positive, and bank stocks actually improved in this aftermath of the storms. You hate to talk about how the stocks are doing in the aftermath of a disaster, but as they said, as was said in The Godfather, this is the business we have chosen. So there we go. Anyway, FIG also took a look at bank M&A deals for the year so far. We're at 170 deals through August for a total of $21.9 billion in the banking space. That's a little bit ahead of last year. The valuations are getting up there, okay? It's an average price to earnings multiple of 23, and so far year to date, the average price to book value for a bank deal is about 162% of tangible book value. So we're getting up there. When we started doing this, as you recall a few years ago, it was 115%, 120%. Where does the red flag go up? when that average gets over 200%, when the average deal's getting done there, it's time for us to start peeling back and getting our money off the table. We're not there yet. August, we had a couple of major deals. Deal flow really picked up, and price to earnings multiple got up to 182% of tangible book value. It's going to keep going up, guys. Banks are paying with inflated currency, so they don't mind paying a little bit of a higher price. But as John Allison, our favorite banker at Home Bank Shares of Conway, Arkansas, noted earlier this year, prices are getting a little silly. They're getting to the point where it's really hard to move that earnings needle. And if it doesn't move the needle, you shouldn't be doing the deal. So fact of the matter is, it's going to pick up. A lot of people came into the year, especially the smaller banks now, the 500 million, the 750 million in total assets. They came in, they were excited about the Trump presidency, the prospects for regulatory reform, for tax reform that could really have a meaningful impact on their bottom line, economic growth that would move interest rates higher and improve net interest margins. There were a lot of possible great things to happen. None of those have happened at all. And, whether you like him or love him, Mr. Trump's ability to deal with Congress at this point, going to be difficult. There's going to be a difficult, contentious relationship. It's going to be tough to get these reforms done in a meaningful fashion. So a lot of the bankers are saying, okay, that's it for me. I'm out. Average banker's like 65 years old for your average bank CEO in the United States. And at some point, they're tired of being a banker. It's not fun. Has not been fun since 2007. So if they can get a reasonable price for their stock, even if it's in another guy's stock at a higher multiple, gives them a liquidity event. They can walk out the door into retirement, starting to look better to a lot of bankers as the environment continues to be very tough out there. Very slow growth economy. So there's lots of buyers because the only path to growth is to buy another bank. So we got lots of buyers, lots of sellers. We should see M&A accelerate. That's fantastic news for us, okay? Now, our portfolio, it's really not too bad at this point in time. We have our mix of banks. Most of them are still very reasonably priced. Wasn't going to be a buy list this week, but hey, I'm here. So not going to do a full commentary, but I will get a buy list up a little bit later today. Looks like there's going to be 16 or 17 names on it that are priced at the levels where we consider them attractive enough to buy. And I think there's about another dozen bonus banks. I'll go ahead and try to get that posted for you as well. Bonus banks that are still a buy, basically. And if you've got new money or you're new to the service, that's where I want you to focus your efforts, is on stocks that are rated buy. We only pay unreasonable prices for strong banks with great loan portfolios. That's been a winning strategy, should be okay. For those of you, and that's most of you that have been doing this with me for a while, never underestimate the vision of Winnie the Pooh, that great market strategist who once advised us to never, ever underestimate the power of doing nothing. This is a great time to do nothing. That's just kind of where we are in the cycle. Now, next week, maybe the following Monday, depending on how schedules and what the hurricane does and all that here, the new community bank stock investor will be out, and we'll be looking at the institutional and insider buying, what's going on, recapping the commentary for the month. And of course, I'll have a couple new focus stock picks for you. Gonna have to probably dig a little bit to come up with those this month, but we'll have some more stocks for you to consider as additions to your Banking on Profits portfolio. So that's where we are, waiting out the hurricane. The markets, there hasn't been a lot of change. Let me see, I have those numbers here where you are less than a percentage point off of all-time highs, and the microcap ETF, which is lagging way behind the broader market, is still just 3.42% off highs for the year. So market's been up for 8 years. I say it every week. It's not a great time to be chasing things higher. If you have some new money or you're new to the service, stick to the buy list. Everybody else just kind of sit on your hands. We're in a sweet spot. Prices are going higher. M&A looks like it's going to pick up over the rest of the year. So we're in a good place. We still have hedges in place. I like where we are, but just sit tight. You don't need to be trading every day to make money in the market. The stock market's one of the only endeavors in your life where doing more will not necessarily result in better results. So there you go. Anyway, recreational reading front, it's been a pretty good week. New Mitch Rapp book out with Kyle Mills picking up for the deceased Vince Flynn, doing an admirable job, and it's a great read. And then, I like these Florida fictions. You've got the Breeze series by Ed Robinson. Book number 9 was just released. This last week you saw Rising Storm. That's the new Jess McDermott series by Wayne Stennett. And Mark Stone's new series, Coastal Justice, the second book, and that was just out. There's not a lot of literary value to these guys. They're just a lot of fun to read. That's the entire merit to them. I love all those series. When they come out, I buy them right away and read them. Got them stacked up on the Kindle. Have finished all 3 of those, but there's more coming. And as I look out in the month, some of the things to be excited about on the reading front. There's a new Nelson DeMille out, new Michael Connelly in the Harry Bosch series, and we've got a new Jesse Stone, the continuation of the Robert Parker series that's being done by a collection of authors. I'm not quite sure who's doing this one, but they've been well done so far. So looking forward to that one. On the nonfiction front, we have Paul Sonkin's new book will be out next week, and the week after that, Ray Dalio's new book will be out. And I think both of those guys have had extraordinary success as investors. Sorry about that, guys. As investors, so I think they'll both be worthwhile reads, and I'll let you know what I think of them after I get a chance to read them. Anyway, baseball front, the Orioles are still in it. I don't know how, because our pitching is absolutely horrible, but our offense continues to be impressive. We just dropped a series to the Yankees, got a tough schedule coming up in September. Pitching's got to get a lot better, or we're not going to make it to that playoff game. We're 2 back at the second wild card. We'll see how it all works out. Cleveland, unbelievable 15-game winning streak. Talk about getting hot at the right time. But let's not think they're going to run away here in the American League, because as I look over, Houston has a 7-game winning streak of its own, continuing to build their lead in the West and make their claim as the single best team in the American League. And over in the National League, the Dodgers are playing well. The Cubs are playing extremely well. They're starting to pull away in the West. Washington's so far in front, nobody's going to catch them. Arizona, 13-game win streak, but this could be too little too late, because they're still 7 back of the wild card. And, of course, no way they're catching the division-leading Los Angeles Dodgers. But anyway, not lots of baseball to play, and that makes me kind of sad, but we are getting ready to come into the playoffs. So we've got baseball, we've got college football. For those of you who insist on watching the sport, we've got the National Football League. I just can't get into the NFL anymore. The game is too slow. There's been just too much craziness around the league. I just don't, I don't have the NFL Sunday ticket or any of that anymore, because I just don't care about the games that much. My wife wants to try being a Buccaneers fan, so maybe some local interest. Remember, she's a Texas girl. Football is religion there, so she wants to have a team, and hey, who doesn't like a Pirate? We'll try rooting for the Buccaneers and see if that gets our interest back up a little bit. Navy is off to a good start. Won their season opener. They've got a game coming up this weekend as well. Florida looks horrible with absolutely no offense. But hey, Notre Dame looks pretty good. So that's my 3 teams. We'll be watching them close. Love college football. And I guess I'll be home watching it instead of sitting at the beach reading on the beach this weekend. But oh well, such is life. Anyway, we're ready for Hurricane Irma. Thoughts going out to those of you in Miami and Naples. If you can evacuate, get out of there. The winds are going to hit as a Category 4, possibly a Category 5, and there's going to be tremendous storm surge. So we'll see how this all plays out. We'll be back to business as usual next week. This is Tim Melvin of Banking on Profit saying have a great week.